I think it's very, very important that people knows about Cuban reality. Basically, what happened here today and all of the few of the questions that have been asked, I think it's to do with people doesn't have any knowledge, and what people knows is just the big propaganda or background about Cuba, about socialism, about how bad the socialism is, or about how bad the communism is. And it's not really true because, for example, myself, I was born in Cuba and I lived in Cuba for 28 years. I could say for a fact that, and I could give you hundreds of examples that why socialism is a system in which give benefit to people, give a good education, give a good health, maybe give opportunity to people to be someone. And it's something that, to be honest, I believe that this tour will open minds to many, many people. And especially when you're bringing like proper Cubans in and saying what they think and what the reality of it is. Like comments like, for example, like the guy asking before about the gay concentration camps. And this is something that is bizarre for me to hear, because me being a young person, and when the AIDS came into the world and came into Cuba, I felt so secure. The fact that we knew that we have a system there working, we have a hospital, people will say well controlled. And even though when they're allowed to go to the houses and stuff like that, I mean, they are controlled by a doctor sitting next to them, and it's not like it's a spare all around the country, and everybody get infested or, you know what I mean? Things like that, it's really, really good. It's really good for the country, really good for the people. And to be honest with you, I believe that this tour, it will make a huge difference for many, many people. Basically, because also what I believe is it's not people's fault, it's not young people's fault. I think it's what they've been told, and it's what American is selling outside Cuba.
What are you doing here at the moment in Britain?
Well, basically, I marry a British person. My wife is British, and my daughter is British. So basically, I just emigrate like anyone else could emigrate to another country to live. That's the only thing I could say. It's not like I had to make it very clear, because I've been asked this question before. I'm not here escaping. I'm not here escaping the socialism. I'm not here escaping Fidel Castro. I'm not here to run away from anything. I live in Cuba, a very happy life. I was part of youth community party in Cuba before I left. So basically, I just fall in love with a woman and just came to live here. Basically, like any British could go to live in Spain, let's say. For example, in here, if you want to go to university, you have to somehow to pay for the university. You know what I mean? And things like that. But like for example, children in here, if you are a child and you want to practice on a special sport, for example, you have to pay for that sport. Your parents have to pay. For example, my daughter is 6 years old, and she does swimming classes, and I have to pay for the swimming classes. You know what I mean? And she was doing a horsing class. I had to pay for her to go to the horses and things like that. That basically in Cuba is a system who allow you, if you are not you haven't got a big salary or things like that, you are able to take your children. Your children are able to go to these kind of things. You know what I mean? No, without your parents have to sacrifice, or because your parents doesn't have enough money, they cannot pay for this or this and that. And I know England have a very bad history in terms of human rights. But that is a past, and basically it's not the fault of a 20 years old or a 30 years old person who didn't left that era. What I will blame is the propaganda. As I said before, I would say 90% or 80%, not to be too absolute, of the young generation doesn't have any idea what a socialism system looks like, or they don't have any idea of what Cuban system look like. I could ask you, I could tell you a story. I was at work once, and a girl came to me and asked me why in Cuba, if you commit a crime in Cuba, why they stand you in the middle of the street and they shoot you in your head in the middle of the street. And I was asking her, where you hear that? Where you seen that? Well, she couldn't answer me just because what she heard was a propaganda or something like she heard somewhere before, in so many other places, or from somebody else. You know what I mean? Basically, this person doesn't know really what she's talking about. Like, for example, like today in this meeting, a lot of things being said and being asked from people who basically what they've been told is just what they are saying at the moment. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, the guy is talking about the homosexuals. It's true that us Cubans are very macho. So we basically, how could I say without putting the wrong messages across? We are not very homosexual orientated, but doesn't mean that in this state of age we don't accept homosexuals. We start accepting homosexuals at the moment. And we start realizing that your sexual orientation doesn't define your personality in terms of being good or being bad or being communist or being capitalist. I think it's just a sexual orientation, and it's something that we have been working really, really hard for the last few years. But I think we are making progress at the moment.